Good morning and welcome to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, where we talk about the behaviors in organizations that may be able to enhance or maybe even sometimes the um, hinder the effectiveness of the organization. And I am your host, Yvette C. Owens of Destiny Speak and the Diplomat Chronicles, a platform for leaders. You can follow me on Facebook at Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens or the Diplomat Chronicles. Also, we're on Facebook as Destiny Speak. I'm really encouraging you to focus on and follow me on YouTube at Yvette C. Owens. Please subscribe, get the notifications when we um, upload more videos and sharing more information that helps you enhance your organization and helps you enhance yourself as a leader. I believe that everything falls back on the leadership. Everything depends on the leadership. You leaders, you are critical in the workspace. You're critical. So we want to make sure that you are maximizing and we want to support you in all that you do. Again, this is Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens. You can also follow me on LinkedIn. I went earlier this morning, had a little glitch, so we're back again doing this quickly. Today, we're talking about um, the thought process that goes on with people when we're talking with people and when we're interacting with people in our organization. And sometimes we feel like they just don't get it. They just don't seem to understand. They just don't know. They're not. They're not understanding what we are trying to convey, comprehending what we're trying to convey, and actually they do. And so we start to think they're not getting it. Well, they do get it, but everyone has their different thought process. So, first and foremost, I want to remind you whatever you're starting to engage with other people, can have this as your foundation, and that is that assume positive intent. Assume that everybody's going after the right thing for the right reasons and they want to see a positive outcome. They're invested in the outcome and the results that will help the momentum build in the organization and your clients' services and products. So that has to be the first and foremost. If you don't believe who you're engaging with is really um, coming with the best intentions, then that will automatically sideline your engagement, really. So the second thing is there are differences in how people engage. There's people, we all have different drivers, if you will, and what helps us to drive differently is how our core makeup is. So you have those who are visionaries, you have those who are analytics, creatives, those who are more of a compliant perspective, quality driven, emotional folks, social folks, those who are achievers or those who are more responsible, those who like to connect. Everyone comes from a different approach and therefore that dictates their language. And so once you understand that and you become more aware of that and you allow that to lead you into every engagement, then you'll have much more profitable outcomes. So, what does that look like? What does that sound like? The visionary usually comes up with the ideas and they keep coming, similar to the creative, right? They keep coming with these ideas and they really are passionate about it. They feel like this is what we're supposed to do right now. And it takes a strategic person to say, that's a great idea. What does it look like day one? What's the logistics around it? How will people engage with us? How will things um, manifest? How will we present it? How will we introduce it to the public? So the visionary has the ideas and they have tons of ideas, creative ideas that are really good ideas, but they need those strategic people around them to help them think through how do we really maximize the implementation of this so we get full engagement. We get a broadest audience engaged in what we're in this vision that you have, right? So the visionary creators want to do things right now because they feel it in their spirit, they feel it in their very being, in their belly. It's like bubbling over, right? So they need to be balanced with those strategic. Those who are strategic also need those who are analytics, who also produce the facts so that the strategy is supported with data that will help them move forward. And then there's the emotional or let's take those who are emotional, right? They come with that passion, and sometimes, many times in the workplace and organizations, we really push and try to squash down the emotion. We try to say, hey, don't bring all that up in here. But that's really what gets the people engaged and interested in what you're talking about. Data does not drive a lot of people, except unless you're an analytic, right? So we really want those people who have that emotional engagement to be able to say to us, this is the passion, and bringing forth that passion, bringing forth the emotion that they get from the idea that's being presented and that will be implemented. You really want to hear their language, hear their perspective. And we also sometimes we say it's about the viewpoint. I want to say it's the vantage point, because we all can't see everything from everyone's perspective. So every different perspective brings you a vantage in presenting and bringing forth what you're trying to bring forth to have better results, better outcomes, better support, right? So there's many more um, types of individual types of perspectives that come to the table when you're working with folks. So look out for them. There are tools and assessment tools that if you have not even, this is the first time you're hearing about these things, and you're like, aha goes off, right? And says, that's why this might seem frustrating, or that's why we might not be able to move forward in our meetings, because sometimes if we don't come in thinking positive intent, everybody wants is invested in this, but everybody has their different language, and it's okay. Then we start to think that a language that we hear different from us across the table is really trying to stonewall or stop us. And in essence, it's just a different thought process. And so some of the tools that help us to learn that are DISC, where you talk about domineering traits, intuitive traits, social traits, um, compliance traits, all those type of traits. Strength finders, they help you focus on where your strengths are as opposed to focusing on your weaknesses. So you want to make sure that you lean into your strengths and not your weaknesses, because you can only take that weakness so far. But when you really focus on your strengths, you can really excel. You can really explode in your environment, in your um, core, in your central expertise, right? And so some of the things that strength finders will have you, they'll identify the top five. I've done workshops with teams who were really struggling in changing from a one process to another, changing from one frame of working to another frame of working, because their organizations required that. Now they're interacting with each other very differently. How do they make that change and lean on each other more so than competing with each other or focusing on the gaps, focusing on what's wrong? Focus on where you guys can maximize. And I've done those kind of workshops, and it's phenomenal how it just changes the mindsets. Some of the things those strengths are: if you're an achiever, if you're responsive, if you are a connector and you can connect well with people, if you're competitive, if you're an influencer, so many other strengths um, that have that come out in those assessments. And those assessments are available for youth and children as well, because what better way to give your young people a chance and to really start on a foundation that they can excel in. So that's the Strength Finders. And I am doing a leadership mastermind this summer, starting July 12th, it is. through the Donald W.T. Carey School of Creatives. We are hosting that, leading that in that organization. And so look out for the post that you can sign up your young leaders, 14 through 18, I think it is. And we will start off with that assessment, a strength assessment for those young people. It's a requirement to start the course, to start the mastermind, and I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. And then there's Myers Briggs, right? Where you can talk about the range of where you are from being more judgmental, being more emotional, things like that. So they're all available. There are many tools available to help you to be more aware of the perspective, the thought process that people are taking and come from when you're working with folks, so that you don't think, oh my God, they're just weird. Oh, they're just so hard to work with. And they're really not, if you understand that their thought process is a thought process that you don't have, but that you may really, really need, to be able to achieve something far more broader, far more expansive than what you could do on your own. So I encourage you to do not also try to assimilate, because if you're really not strong in being self identity and self esteem, you might think, well, oh, maybe I need to think that way. No, still come with your authentic self. Be able to identify what that is. I do coach folks, and I can help leaders identify what's my language, if you will, and be okay with your language and know how it compares to other languages, so you know how to properly engage. So, wanted to share this with you today. Um, it's not that they're not getting it, and it's not that you're not understanding. You're just speaking a different language, and it's okay. The the beauty of it is when you bring it all and it all converges into that moment where they're working together simultaneously, and creating something phenomenal that you could not again do on your own. Again, you can reach out to me if you'd like to hear more about these assessment tools that I mentioned. Happy to bring them into your organization. Happy to have you go through them and walk you through them, and how it can help you engage even stronger in the spaces that you're in. You can reach me again on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel at Yvette C. Owens, or on Facebook at Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, or at the Diplomat Chronicles, or just connect with me on Yvette C. Owens on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn as well. Please share, subscribe, and remember, it takes all of us coming together in our very authentic selves to create a culture that allows everyone to thrive and grow. Have a tremendous week, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.